We'll begin the press conference. One question per media organisation. Hello, good evening. There'll be lots of footballing explanations, and I suppose you'd have to watch the game again to understand what happened on the pitch. But from the outside, one of the most important things that we've seen is the lack of intensity or losing the duels, even though physically today Liverpool were above Real Madrid. Obviously, what are your feelings? I don't have those feelings. I think we competed well. There were actions in that first half. I think Szoboszlai had an opportunity in that first half. We played at a high rhythm. I think what we were lacking today was perhaps to hurt them in the final third and to be a real threat. And then the second part, it was just small details. At half-time, we said we needed to be in the game to have an opportunity, and we conceded lots of fouls. Thibaut Courtois wasn't able to save that header from the set piece, but it was a bit difficult for us today. I'm not going to complain about my team. We gave it a good go. It's the first game that we've had in this group phase against Liverpool, and then we'll start to think about what's coming in the future.
Xavi, can I just ask about Trent and obviously the reaction that he got when he came in? You've spoken to him. How is he, and how did that impact the team as well when you're obviously pushing and trying for that equaliser? The fact that it kind of enhanced the kind of hostility towards the team at that point.
No, it was being a very intense game. Atmosphere at Anfield in a Champions League game against top classic game in European football, and we needed his quality. We needed his, his threat from the wing. It could be expected. Professional, mature, he was ready for that, so no problem.
Here. Mario.
Mr.
After a start of the season where we've seen you've made many changes to your starting 11, you went with the same starting 11 as the Clásico. Is this going to be your starting 11 in terms of structure and names? These are decisions that we take, and depending on the players that are playing well, are in a good moment. We're still in November. We'll have a really demanding period that we're going into. And for me, today they worked well. They play well in the Clásico. Today we look at things that we could improve on, but we obviously go away with a bitter flavour in our mouth, but we have to analyse what we did today and think about the weekend's game at Rayo. Hi, Xabi. Do you have the feeling that you're almost in a roller coaster of emotions? You win the Clásico and then you have ups and downs, like when you were beat at the Metropolitano against Atletico Madrid. When you play against really well-organised teams, is that a problem for you? No, I don't think we have ups and downs. Obviously, the game in the Metropolitano when we lost was a poor moment for us, but we have to be consistent with our performance, with the demands we put upon ourselves, with the details in this game. We have to understand that we can't commit so many fouls because the game can get away from you like it did today. There are other aspects we can improve on, of course, but I don't think it's ups and downs for us. I think it's just those demands that create instability if you think you're always up and always down. We have to look at today as a defeat, an isolated defeat. We competed, we were equal to them, and we have to learn from these defeats. Can I ask you about the changes you made? Brahim came on towards the end. Trent came on towards the end. I don't know if you think in the final third of the game, did you feel that you had the team that you needed up front, and what was missing? I think we were lacking that threat in the final third. I think to break that final defensive line and create clear chances was difficult for us. And on our one-on-ones, we weren't able to cause problems. We changed Valverde because he had some discomfort. But with Trent, we wanted to have that threat down the right. You always look to change the dynamic a little bit, to look for other associations within the players, connections. We had quality on the bench to be able to affect the game. We were lacking that little bit today. And they were just small details that fell in their favour. You said that it had been an even game, more or less. The first half was equal. It seems that Courtois has stopped an even tougher result for Real Madrid. And perhaps there were no chances for Real Madrid in that first half. What do you think about that? No, for me, the most worrying aspect, I would say, is that we need to learn from this, is when in those moments when they are pressuring you, which can happen, when we're at home with our fans, we manage to do this as well. It's about not conceding those free kicks, those corners. Thibaut was fantastic. Szoboszlai managed to win the ball and get through, and Courtois saved us in that moment. But it was a very intense game. You mentioned, could you talk to me a little bit about the centre of the pitch? How would you analyse the way that you were able to bring the ball out? I think sometimes we came out down the left with Alvaro. We wanted to have a connection and perhaps with a player to be free. And I think Jude, when he received the ball, he was very well marked today. And the idea was for him to find a connection with Kylian. I think we started the first half. We grew into the game in the first half. And then we managed to play in their half. But we didn't really, and we lacked that threat in their area. I think this season you've used 5 players on the right wing. Mastantuono, Brahim, Camavinga, Bellingham, who played for a period during the Clásico. Camavinga played a bit more in the Clásico than he did today. Is that the position where you are less convinced in terms of who you want to put there? I'm sure. I don't know whether you've understood that you've used 5 players in that position. How do you analyse that right-hand side? We have players who can play in different positions. As you've said, Eduardo can play in different places. Arda can also play in that position. Fede, Valverde can play there. It depends on the game, the moment the player is in, the team that we're facing, and we look at our options. Sometimes you have a player with a different type of profile who's not an out-and-out winger. We have a big squad and we have to evaluate what we have for each game. I don't know if the thing that annoys you so much is the way you came out in that second half and you received 3 chances from your opponent. Is that the most annoying thing? Straight after half-time. I think that's the aspect, and that's the area we've conceded more chances. I think they are moments that can be avoided because we were close to them. They managed to get in our half a lot more. And then afterwards, they have players that can shoot well from outside the box. But I think we've committed far too many fouls this evening.